Please switch on your camera, Ashutosh, and all of you others who have not switched on. Ankita Jena, Arnav Das, Pragya Rani, Dipanjan, Dabashish, Astha Trushali, Shoaib, Rishabh Kumar. Why do you have to tell you this? I hope you can hear me. Dabashish Agarwal, you have signed in from two different accounts, I guess. Yeah, better. Devashish, you have signed in from another account as well. I can see that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, please don't do that.
Yes.
It will create confusion in attendance. Okay. Pragya Rani, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you here by any chance? If your video is off and you're also not responding to me, to my queries, I just assume that you're logged in, but you're not there. So I will remove you from the class. And once I remove you from the class, you will not be able to join that class anymore. You will also lose your attendance. You cannot even claim attendance for the class. Bishwajit Beura, Shoaib and Astha Burma and Pragya Rani.
Ma'am, मेरे साइड थोड़ा नेटवर्क इशू है.
Everybody has that, Pragya. Everybody has network issues. As I said, I have perhaps the most pathetic network in this part of the world because I'm surrounded by buildings. I'm surrounded by buildings. Even Geo Fiber is useless here. So please switch on. Yeah, better. Thank you.
मैम एक्चुअली हो क्या रहा है ना कि जब मैं को अनम्यूट कर रही हूँ ना तो कैमरा ऑटोमेटिक ऑफ हो रहा था. मैं फोन से कनेक्ट हो रही हूँ तो मैं इस अगर
better don't
कैमरा ऑन कर रही
हूँ. You don't unmute yourself, but keep your camera on. Keep your camera on and listen to me. You don't need to unmute yourself. Shoaib and Sana Parveen. Why are you switching off again and again, Sana? It's a game you're playing or what? It's a class, right?
Ma'am, I'm not switching off. I don't know. Maybe it's showing you because of network issue.
Oh, okay. I'll check time and again whether your camera is on, and if your camera is off, then whatever I ask you, you have to respond immediately. Otherwise, what you will prove is that you are not there. You are only logged in, but you are not there. Remember that. Okay, that's one of the ground rules we have to follow. All right. Now, last time, this is what I had given you very quickly. Let's go over this and clear, some of our fundamental concepts about different kinds of communication and how they play a major role in our overall effectiveness as a communicator. So first one, verbal communication. Please do not answer in chorus. The people who have done that in the previous class, they have lost marks. I will ask you to answer a particular question and then you can answer. Let me turn to Debolina. Debolina, answer the first one. Verbal communication. Matches with what?
B6.
Okay. So it's the kind of communication which uses script or language as the major tool. Now here, let me clarify one point. Many of us, just like we think customer and consumer are the same, till a marketing expert tells you the difference. Similarly, many people think verbal communication means oral communication. I don't know how many of you think like that, but I know even some very senior professors, they have argued that verbal communication means oral communication, but that's not the thing, because Only one form of verbal communication is oral communication. What is the other form? Written, of course.
Written.
Yeah.
Written.
Yeah. Many people think verbal communication means it's not written communication, but oral communication. If anybody tells you that, please clarify their doubts, because verbal means using language or words or script. And in both speech and writing, we use script, which is why verbal communication can be further categorized as oral and written communication. But both are obviously forms of verbal communication. So if verbal means using language, non-verbal means without using language. So it's B3, the kind of communication in which literary language is not used, but one which makes use of kinesics, proxemics, paralanguage, and etc. etc. Now, what is kinesics, what is proxemics, I'm not telling you now, because there are separate sessions on non-verbal communication. You are going to deal with these terms in details. All right, I will not elaborate. Just know for the time being, when we are not using words and we are using some other means, maybe sign language, maybe our tonal variation, maybe our expressions to communicate our feelings or whatever we want to say, that is non-verbal communication. And most of the times we make use of both verbal and non-verbal communication. Like, for example, right now I'm talking to you and I'm also allowing my voice modulation to vary as I'm talking. I'm using gestures, my hand movements I'm using. So when I'm trying to say something, I'm also demonstrating it kind of. So my gestures are coming into play. I'm using both verbal and non-verbal. You are also right now using both verbal and non-verbal. Sometimes you unmute yourself and you speak to me, and sometimes you just raise hand, that virtual hand which is there. You just click on that button and I know that you have a question. You're not saying, ma'am, I have a question, ma'am, I have something to say here. You're not telling me verbally, but when you raise hands, I get a non-verbal message from you that you want to say something or you want to answer a question or ask a question. Okay, so most of the times we make use of both verbal and non-verbal communication. I just hope this part is clear and that confusion regarding oral verbal is not there anymore. Now come to 3, 4 and 5. Interpersonal communication, intrapersonal communication, and group communication. All right, let's take these three together. So interpersonal communication matches with, let me turn to Tathagat. Tathagat?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, answer.
Sorry, ma'am. I haven't heard the question.
I know you didn't hear. That's why I'm asking you the question. So please pay attention in the class, okay? Do justice to your investment. Yeah. Be careful. You are losing marks. You have already lost marks in discipline, Tathagat. Be careful. And if this is your level of class participation, you will get 0 if this is a level of class participation. Pragya, when I'm talking to somebody, you will not talk. You will lose marks in discipline. Please have manners. When a teacher is talking to somebody, you are not supposed to talk at that point of time. All right, be attentive, all of you. Now let me turn to Abhinav Nayak and ask him this question. What is interpersonal communication as per you? What do you think?
Ma'am, for me, interpersonal communication means the kind of communication that involves two persons.
Okay, now let me tell you, although it's correct, some authors of communication textbooks have a different opinion. Some authors say interpersonal communication means what is technically called a dyadic communication, DYADIC, dyadic communication, which means two people are involved. But some authors have a different opinion. They say interpersonal communication means when two or more people are involved. That means dyadic and group communication, they combine and say this is interpersonal communication. Some authors. Whereas some authors make it very distinct. No, interpersonal means dyadic. Two persons are talking. If it is more than two persons, it becomes group communication as per their argument. But what is this intrapersonal communication? Intra. And we know intra means within, isn't it? Inside. If that is the thing, then it matches with what? Let me turn to, please.
Option 4.
You are not supposed to do that, Mahima. You will lose marks. Okay. Please be careful. I said very right from the beginning. I will ask and you will answer. No answer in chorus. It's not a kindergarten class. Come on. This is a postgraduate class. Either you raise hands or wait for me to ask you. Yeah. Yeah, Mahima, now you can go for it.
I just said that the intrapersonal communication will match with the option 4, the kind of communication which takes place within a person using language and thoughts internally.
Okay. Now, how is it possible? How is it possible that somebody who is sending the message is the same as somebody who is receiving the message? If you go for the communication model, there is a sender, there is a receiver, a message is sent and the receiver receives. So what happens in case of intrapersonal communication exactly? When did you last indulge in intrapersonal communication, Mahima? Do you remember when you last time indulged in intrapersonal communication?
I actually do that every day, I guess.
Every day? Oh, okay. I did it just 1 minute back, you know. Yeah. When I was deciding whether I should ask you this question or not, because you violated a rule and immediately, no, wait, hold on, hold your horses.
Okay.
So when you violated that rule, I was asking myself, since she has violated this rule, she should not be allowed to answer this question. And then somebody from within told me that it's okay. Maybe she was not aware of this rule. Maybe she didn't hear me when I said in the beginning. So let me give her a chance. The first person was also me, and the second person was also me. So I was communicating with myself. Most of the times when you want to ask a question to the teacher, there is a war within you. Should I ask this question? What if every other person knows the answer? I'm the only one who doesn't know. Or should I ask this question? Will the teacher react in a different manner, in a negative manner? And then you say, oh, let me ask. Otherwise, it's not going to be clear. Let me ask. So all this messaging we are doing with ourselves. That's called intrapersonal communication. It's very difficult to believe that we continually communicate with ourselves, but we do. If you read a book called The Power of Now, right now I'm forgetting the author's name. I have the PDF, I can share it with you. Too many names are coming to my mind. So The Power of Now, this book, if you read, the author says, just like any mad person on street, have you seen an insane person on street who normally mutter to themselves? Something or other, blah, blah, blah. They just go on muttering. Have you ever seen any such person on street? I think most of us have. Yeah, I think most of us have. Now, the author of Power of Now says that we all are like that mad person on the street. We are continuously talking to ourselves. The only difference between that person and us is that that person can verbalize or does verbalize all the time without looking at people's reaction, and we are clever, so we don't verbalize it, and inwardly it's going on and on, but on the surface we appear to be very, very sane people. But he says we are just like that mad person who are perpetually communicating messages to ourselves. Should I go for ice cream? Oh no, this is not the right time to go for ice cream because it may affect my immunity, whatever, and this intrapersonal communication is the source of self-motivation. You might have heard of this term. Your teachers, your parents say, come on, you should be self-motivated to study. You should be self-motivated to do this. Why should somebody coax you? So where from comes that self-motivation? How do we self-motivate ourselves, or how do we motivate ourselves rather? This is how, by sending positive messages. And we can do the reverse also. Sometimes we send negative messages also. Like you may be sitting outside the interview chamber and you see that one after the other, your counterparts, they are going in and they're coming out with long faces. It's a stress interview. You're asking them what happened, what questions they're asking, and they say now they're literally grilling. So you get terrified and you tell yourself, oh my God, what will I do there? I'm so nervous here sitting outside. Once I get inside, what will happen to me? You're not telling anybody, you're telling yourself. So that will, increase your stress level. That will increase your anxiety level. You remember that scene when Amir is saying, all is well, all is well, all is well. Now that is intrapersonal communication. To whom is he saying that? He's telling himself, everything will be fine, or nothing to worry, whatever is your mantra for your interview time, or time of stress or anxiety. So that has to come to your mind. That will kind of comfort you or console you. Intrapersonal communication is a must for self-motivation. And also stay away from negative intrapersonal communication, because no matter how much external motivation you are getting, if from within somebody tells you, oh, come on, fall asleep, don't attend class, it's okay, or listen to music because your audio is mute, teacher will not know. So all those negative messaging will affect your overall efficiency. So interpersonal, 2 people are involved, particularly in dyadic communication, 2 people are involved. Intra, only 1 person. Group communication, where more than 2 persons are involved. And group communication has its own challenges. If you go for companies like Deloitte and PwC, just browse some of their FAQs. And one of the FAQs which you can expect to be asked to you is whether you like to be a group player or team player or an individual performer, or are you comfortable working individually or in groups? This is one question PwC and Deloitte invariably ask to interviewees. Even some of your seniors, I was interacting with them who have been placed in Deloitte and PwC, and who have not been placed also, who went for the interview process. I had said this will be one of the FAQs. I conducted mock interview and it was there as a question. Okay. Why do they ask that? And what can you say there? If you say individual performer, most of us would like to be individual performers. Less complications, no ego clashes, no conflict, much of freedom and liberty you can exercise in taking decisions. So obviously anybody will go for individual performance. If you believe in your ability, you would definitely choose individual performance. But companies would like you to be team players, because hardly you get individual projects these days. Most of the projects they are going to give you once you take up your job, it will be collaborative in nature, right? You will be assigned group tasks, and maybe you will be a part of a virtual team also, who knows? You may be operating from India, somebody from Canada and somebody from USA may be in your team. 3 of you are working on the same project, virtually connected. So team dynamics is something the companies expect you to be aware of. They expect you to be a good team player, because that's how you are going to operate in the end. Which is why an answer like I would rather prefer to work individually is not a very desirable answer. Okay. Now, I will tell you more about the nuances of group communication, what are the various challenges we can face, and how to overcome those challenges in much detail, and maybe through a small case study also. But right now, we are just acquainting ourselves with the term, so I'm not elaborating further. Now, meta communication, the last thing. No prize for guessing. It's column B1. But tell me honestly, did anyone think that A2 matches with B1 because of the term non-verbal? Please lower all your hands. And if you thought that A2 matches with a B1, you can keep your hands raised. Okay. Honest souls. Okay. It often happens that they students get confused because of the word non-verbal there, but the biggest clue is this word often non-verbal. So if something is non-verbal, will always be non-verbal. It will not be often non-verbal. But this meta communication is the kind of communication where there is a meta or a hidden text or meaning there. A hidden meaning is intended. Like, for example, it's now 4:40. It's 4:40 already, and somebody if tries to join my class, and I may look at the person and say, "Oh, Ramesh, you are so early to my class." So what do I mean there exactly? I don't certainly mean that he's early to my class. Rather, it's a very sarcastic way of telling that the person is late and that's not the time to enter. But what did I say? I used a different word. I used the term early. And what did I mean? I meant late, just the opposite. So it was meta communicated. Okay. Then what is meta communication? An indirect message is sent. I'm saying something, but I'm meaning something else. That indirect message can be positive, it can be negative also. Sometimes we say positive things indirectly. Sometimes we say negative things indirectly. Any question here, please? Yes, Ananya.
So sarcasm is always.
I think there's something wrong with my network. Please repeat.
Can I repeat? Did you ask me to ask a question?
No, ma'am, actually, it's not audible to me.
It could be my network. Am I audible to everybody? Or
Ma'am, you are audible to me.
You're audible to me. I'm audible.
all right. All right. Then probably something is wrong at her end. Well, any question regarding meta communication? Could you understand this term?
I have doubt.
Okay.
No, it's a question actually. So sarcasm is always meta communication.
Sarcasm. Yeah. Sarcasm is definitely one form of meta communication. Yeah. Yes. But we also send very, very positive messages. We meta communicate positive messages also. All right. Any other question, please?
Ma'am, what's the difference between meta communication and a pun? Like it uses indirect speech, both of the.
Yeah, you can say one form of meta communication can be punning also when double meaning is there.
Oh,
Like
okay, ma'am, okay.
like when you say an ambassador lies abroad. An ambassador lies abroad means that lie. It could mean stays abroad. It could mean that falsifies things for the sake of keeping the country's secrecies and all that. Okay, so maybe you are saying something and there is a deeper meaning associated with what you are saying. So it can be punning. Punning can be meta communication, one form of meta communication. What else?
Ma'am, meta communication can be in non-verbal platform or only in verbal
Yes.
platform.
Yeah, it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal. For example, when I say, looking good. Now, there is a contradiction there, right? I'm saying looking good, which is verbally positive, but look at the non-verbal message. I'm frowning, I'm having that tongue in the cheek expression. That means what I mean probably is you do not normally look good, but today for a change you are looking different, you are looking good. It could mean that. So it can be non-verbal also. Most of the times we make use of our tonal quality, like for example, if somebody says, somebody joins in the last 5 minutes of the class and raises hand and says, ma'am, I'm here. Then I say, oh, now you are here. Just 5 minutes to go and you are here. And he grins. He grins. Okay. So I say, and you're grinning on top of it. Very good. So that very good, there is a contradiction. If you look at verbally very good means very good. But the way I said, you're grinning on top of it, very good. Now see, my expression, my tonal variation, expressions are non-verbal, and our voice modulation is also paralanguage. It's not language, it's paralanguage. And there is something other, some other message is conveyed there. When I do non-verbal communication, I'll tell you that people can say sorry as if they're giving you a nice slap. People can say thank you. Possible, right? So there is nothing wrong with the word thank or you. But the expression I'm making, the defensive gesture I'm using, it makes it a very negative message in the end. So where from comes that meta message? It comes from the non-verbal dimensions. So it can be non-verbal. It can be verbal also. It can be verbal. And you know, best example I can give you, you will all understand. If you have watched the movie Three Idiots, I think we all have watched the movie Three Idiots. So my students of BBA would remember. There is one scene, I think all of us, we have watched it so many times that we remember all the scenes. So you would be able to recall perhaps. When Amir is telling the girl, your mother must be very beautiful. What the girl says is, yeah, how do you know? Okay. Amir says, your mother must be very beautiful. Girl says, yeah, how do you know? And Amir says, have you seen your father? And then he makes faces, tries to appear to be, like Virus, that character, Karina's father. Baman Irani, the character that Baman Irani is playing. So he tries to look like Virus to suggest that your father is so ugly to look at. So if you are his daughter, your mother has to be extremely beautiful. But if you look at the ultimate meaning of that message, Amir is not trying to say that her mother is beautiful or her father is ugly. All that he wants to say is that you are too pretty. You are too pretty. But just imagine that dialogue if he comes and says, you know, you are too pretty. There is nothing in that. It appears to be such a cheap little statement. But when he's adding a tinge of humor and going the indirect way to say the same thing, you should see then how Karina blushes there. Now that blush is the effect of meta communication. Had it been a direct message, you know, you're too pretty, probably she would have taken out her shoes and slapped Amir on his face. So sometimes positive messages can also be indirectly conveyed through meta communication. And this is one way verbal communication can be used to attempt meta communication. When you are saying something, but your ultimate meaning is something else. All right. Now, if you look at number 1 and 2, I think you can know that here you are categorizing communication on the basis of the channel you are using, whether language or non-linguistic means. Channel. If you look at 3, 4, and 5, you are categorizing on the basis of what?
Persons involved.
Right. Number of persons involved. No? Number of persons involved. 3, 4, and 5. And if you look at the last one, meta communication, you are categorizing it on the basis of the nature and purpose of the message, whether it's a direct message or an indirect message. Okay. So there may be overlapping here. Something may be verbal communication and interpersonal communication at the same time. Something may be interpersonal communication and meta communication at the same time. But something which is interpersonal communication cannot be intrapersonal communication. Something which is verbal communication cannot be non-verbal communication. Okay. Otherwise, there can be overlapping between these subcategories. Now, let me stop share this one and show you something else. Yeah. I'll show just one slide today. I'm not doing the entire PPT with you. I'll show just one slide. Yeah. Now let me share this. Today I can share only this much, but after my next class, I'll share the entire PPT with you. If you want, you can take a photograph of this today. All right. So here it is. You can see that on one side of this entire slide, you have all the words you just did, and you are quick, I think, to notice that it's on the left hand side. These words we are yet to cover, but we have already done this part: interpersonal, intrapersonal, group, verbal, non-verbal, meta communication. And so on the top, you can see it's at the individual level. Even though you are not a part of any organization, you are not an employee, you are not a business owner, you still will communicate. You still will be involved in these kinds of communication. But look at the other side. Look at the right hand side. You can see that there are certain forms of communication which can take place only when we are a part of an organization. We are an employee or a stakeholder, internal stakeholder. So if once we are a part of the organization, we are a part of organizational communication network. So these are the kinds of communication we will indulge in. Not very difficult terms. All these terms are self-explanatory. In fact, like if I say upward and downward, anybody under the sun will understand that upward means when a subordinate is talking to the superior, and downward means when the superior is talking to the subordinate. I think everybody will understand. Horizontal, when a peer-to-peer communication is taking place, people of the same rank are talking. But what is important here to understand is what happens when things go wrong in upward or downward or horizontal or diagonal communication. How can it affect organizations? Does anyone have a question? I can see hands. If you don't have any question, please lower your hands.
I have a question, ma'am.
Please go ahead.
It's related to the this at the organization level communication only. So there is a case where my senior has said something very violently to me, and I didn't like the answer. So how I am going to share my feedback to him or to my like superior? So how it going to be, and what will be the process, and what will be the hierarchy, like how I should be going to my senior or to my super senior?
Okay, who is this? I can't see you among so many
Ma'am,
faces.
it's me, Harsh
Harsh
Prakash.
Okay, yeah, Harsh. Yeah, very good question. So this is a dilemma we face. I'll talk about it. Because you might have heard, no matter how many times, the boss is always right. If you are somebody who is very straightforward in his approach and doesn't know how to be diplomatic or hypocritical, then only you will ponder over this question. The question that you're asking me, many people do not even ponder over that question. Like if the boss is saying something in this manner, then how I should react and all that, because they think that nothing can be done about it. Nothing can be done about it for two reasons. One is the relationship will be spoiled. Second, it can be escalated to any level and it might affect my job and career. So many people are wise enough to know what not to do. The intelligent people think what they should do, how they should do. But the wise, they know what not to do. And if something is better avoided, then don't confront it. Do not confront it. Okay. And if at all you confront it, obviously you have to be at your polite best, although there may be a storm within, right? You may feel like ranting or even beating up that person for the way he talked to you for no reason, for no mistake of yours. But on the surface, you have to maintain a calm, your composure has to be intact, right? That's why there is an interesting book called Games People Play. I wanted to talk about this book at some point or the other. So in that book, Games People Play, the author says that we continuously play games with each other. Right now, I'm playing a game with you and you are playing a game with me. I'm trying to project myself as a very good teacher and dedicated teacher and caring person or maybe whatnot. You are trying to project yourself as a very obedient student or a disciplined person or studious or career oriented. And we all are aware that we have some dark sides. We are not 24 karat gold, none of us. But do we show that side? We don't show that side. We think we are not hypocritical. Human beings are basically hypocritical. And sometimes hypocrisy is worth it. So either you do not react, that's your first choice. Take it in your stride. Because seriously, bosses come and go. One good advice I got in my life, when I was upset with my boss at that point of time, somebody said, why do you worry about bosses? Bosses come and go. Employees are there and they will remain there because the organization cannot do without them. These bosses come and go. It was really worthwhile, because after a few years, maybe just 2 years down the line, he disappeared and there was somebody else. Leadership changes, which is why it would be better not to confront things outright. Take a little time. It's very difficult. It will try your patience. But if you allow a little time, even you will tell yourself, it was not worth it. Let it be. But if you must confront, you have no choice but a polite way. No matter how rude it was from the boss's side, your way has to be polite. Otherwise, it can be cited against you. Let's see, this is how he or she is talking and all that. So do not allow anything. And these days, people are recording everything. Even this class is recorded. So I'm conscious what to say, what not to say. There are many things I want to say, but I'm editing profusely.
Ma'am, may I?
Please.
Yeah, ma'am. So this question actually came to my mind from this was something which I was thinking about from past few months. I know what not to do, but if I have to do and I have to respond with some of my emails which should be non-violent, so I should have to frame it in something which doesn't hurt my senior. But the thing is, I don't know how to actually construct that sentence, or how should I go about it, because I haven't faced such thing in my career. But if I have to, so I just needed some guidance.
So as
how
I said, you have to be your polite best and make sure, like when I say something like, that was not the way to speak. How can you be so rude? I can say this, but I can also say, I'm a little hurt, sir. I don't think I deserve this. Fine, you said what you said. Fine, you said what you said, but I don't think I deserved it because I didn't do it. I feel a little hurt. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm not accusing anybody. So my language can be non-accusing in nature.
So
Although,
it can be like, ma'am, I am just giving my senior feedback in a very polite way, and the hierarchy should be between me and my senior only. It should not be going directly to my super senior. Is it right?
In this context, I will also point out something. Because of this problem, these problems in upward communication, it doesn't happen in horizontal, downward, or anything. You are asking very valid questions. Because I can even cite some cases here. All of you, please try to pay attention. It's not a personal doubt he's clarifying. Please pay attention. It's a serious concern among organizational leaders how to ensure proper upward communication, because employees normally hesitate to speak out to their bosses. And when that happens, sometimes bad decisions are taken, quality is compromised, the junior who has a better grasp of things is keeping a mum, somebody who doesn't understand, belongs to a different domain, is having his say, getting things done, right? So because of this, what is being affected here is organization's productivity, which is why through many cases organizations have realized upward communication has to be encouraged. However, if you look at reality, then it's still somewhere that hierarchical, you can say, syndrome is there, and people have their ego. That's why one has to be careful. However, some organizations, what they have started is direct, employee suggestion scheme, employee feedback scheme, where you don't have to go through intermediaries to reach the highest authority. You can directly use Dropbox. Dropbox you might have heard of. So if you think your suggestion is valid, your feedback is valid, it's saving thousands or crores or millions of rupees. So it's worth it. You can directly send it to the highest authority. Some organizations have started that. Probably INFI and others, they have started Dropbox. I can cite some more names if you give me some time. But otherwise, in many organizations, upward communication is not as healthy as it should be. And in some cultural contexts, it's pathetic. I had a Korean student 1.5 years back before this pandemic. He was absolutely brilliant, and his my God, concentration level. He would remember everything that would be taught, and he would be at his polite best when he would speak to his teacher. But one thing I noticed, once he was trying to ask a question, and he started with an apology, first of all, that he's asking a question. That apology was so long, and I mean, he was literally behaving as if he's offending me by asking a question. And then finally he asked the question, he got his answer. Then I called him. It was a bit abnormal. So I called him. I said, I thought maybe he has developed some fear psychosis against me. And how of all, I'm quite friendly to my students. Why is he having this? Where from it came between us? So I called him to my cabin. I said, Na, his name was Na. I said, Na, what's wrong with you? You asked me a question which is perfectly all right. Why were you so apologetic about it? Then he said, because in our country, we don't ask questions to our teachers. Oh my God. It was shocking. I said, then how do you learn? Then he said, no, we just listen to our teachers and we remember things. That's how we learn. It struck me. And just wait for a minute. Let me share a video. You might have heard about this case of the airlines crisis in the context of Korean culture. Airlines crisis you might have heard of, when so many flights, planes crashed. They tried to figure out why is it that once in every 2-3 years there is a plane crash. And when the black box, what is that? Yeah, the black box, the recordings, the cockpit conversation between pilots and the number 1 assistant, number 2 assistant, when that was analyzed, it was seen that the subordinate number 2 is trying to suggest that you are going for a wrong gear or some wrong switch or something, and he is not taken in the right spirit. Rather, the boss glares at him that how can you surpass 2 levels? There is assistant 1, and then there is the main pilot, your assistant 2, and he will be telling me how to fly a plane. That's the kind of expression he's giving. And it was made clear that the time Koreans take to make a statement against the boss, that time was crucial, and something which should be said in a second, watch, it will hit you. It should be that. Now, if I say, would you mind if I tell you something? I know you know something much better than me, and my knowledge is nothing as compared to yours, but still I would try to make a suggestion here. If you do not move from this place, this thing which is falling down will hit you. By the time I say all this, it will fall down on the person's head and kill the person. That's not how we should behave during crisis. But Koreans were taught through ages that that's how they are going to talk to their bosses. They cannot supersede. They cannot supersede. They cannot behave as if they know more than the boss. It's impossible that you will know more than your senior. That's the belief. Just watch it for 2 minutes. Then we proceed. Very good question he has come up with. I think it's here. I was just having a look at it this morning itself. should not have much difficulty in finding it out. A new share, yes. Harsh, please bear with me.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. No issues.
Yeah, finally, what it. When you are recording, this is the problem you have. I want to see my desktop with the location of the file. Okay, I can try this maybe. It's not allowing me to minimize, which is why I cannot open that file. Okay, let me try from here. Yeah, did open the file finally somehow. Now let me share this. I've told you the context of this video. This the black box was recovered and the cockpit conversations were analyzed. So that's how they came to understand the crisis better. I'll optimize for video clips. Yeah, done. All right, can you see now? Let me play it. It should be
Yes.
audible to you once I play. I'll go for a full volume. Yeah, all right. Correct, you are to point out that many a times. So let me get the other view, the gallery view, so that I can see everybody.
It was a nice video, ma'am.
Ma'am, I have a question.
It was an eye opener. It should be an eye opener for the bosses, because subordinates can do very little to change the culture of an organization. Somebody rightly said culture flows from the top. So if you want to establish a culture, if you want to have open communication, if you want to encourage more and more upward communication, it has to come from the top. The subordinate, no matter how assertive you are, Harsh, or I am, we cannot do many things that we would like to do. So, but at least when you become a boss, or I climb the hierarchical order, as bosses, as superiors, we can encourage upward communication and set examples. Right now, as subordinates, probably you can do very little except being your polite best and assertive enough. Was there any other question somebody wanted to ask?
Yes,
Please go ahead. Yeah, please go ahead.
Ma'am, in Harsh's case, let's suppose I am the boss, and Harsh mentioned that like I wasn't polite to him, and so after that, what will be my response as a boss?
It depends on you. What will be your response as a boss? Because somebody who could be that impolite, first of all, he will never respond the way he should. The ideal way you cannot expect from that person. And somebody who will behave in an ideal way will rectify his conduct, will do some introspection and realize his fault, will not make that kind of a remark at the first place. Okay, so we can only, when we are in a particular position, we can only change ourselves and set examples. We cannot do anything else. And
Ma'am, one
I
more,
would suggest, yeah, I'll come back to you. And I would suggest, if at any point of time we get to know that we were at flaw, it will be better to confess it instead of trying to dilute the facts. It will be better, because I may feel bad about it at that particular moment. If I don't confess, I'll feel bad about it for the rest of my life. Rather, once I confess, yeah, it was my mistake and I'm really sorry, I think no subordinate on earth will carry it for a very long time. He will soon forget. If I don't confess it, if I stick to my standpoint, no, I'm the boss and I was right, I did whatever I did, it was good, I was rude and it was befitting, that ill feeling lingers on throughout. It doesn't go, and we have to work together. So we cannot work together with so much of ill feelings. Okay, we spend more time with our superiors and subordinates than even with our family members. So we have to keep the relationship also in mind. Yeah, there was a girl asking something. Please go ahead.
Yes, it's me, Trushnali, ma'am.
Yeah.
So in Harsh's case, the responses that you suggested to him would again be forms of meta communication.
No, not really, because when you are politely saying something, you are directly stating it. Meta communication is when it's an indirect message. It's an indirect, it has to be a hidden message. But when he is directly saying that I was a bit hurt.
If he's saying I think I didn't deserve that. You said that's fine.
Yeah, in a way you are right. In a way you are right. That is also partially an indirect message, because I'm not telling directly on the person's face, you did something to me which I didn't deserve. You are trying to what should I say? There is a term for that which I am forgetting. You are using that device and adding polished word and saying, I don't think I deserved it. Yeah, you can say so. It's meta communication. Yes, good observation. Yes.
Can we say that meta communications are often gestures that one makes when making a comment, commenting on someone, like the gestures that we make? You said this type of all.
Yeah.
So
only when there is a contradiction. If I'm just saying if I'm don't do that, if I'm saying this and I'm also saying don't do that, I'm pointing, there is no contradiction, there is no indirect or hidden message. It's a very direct message. I'm saying and I'm also showing don't do that. So it's a very direct message. But when I'm saying something like I don't know why you're doing that. Now, there's a bit of meta communication here. When I'm saying, I don't know why you are doing that, it sounds as if I'm questioning my knowledge, but actually I'm questioning your intention, your intelligence or wisdom there. Okay. So anywhere there is an indirect hidden message involved, you can say there is a bit of meta messaging there. Very
Ma'am,
good.
another one question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, did your student, like the Korean student you were talking about, did he correct that? Like, did he get over that whole hierarchy system of communication?
Well, actually he discontinued, but I don't think, and he went back to his country immediately after that. And I don't know, had he continued, it would have taken a very long time for him to change that, perhaps, because cultural conditioning is something which remains with us for a very long time. Cultural conditioning has a long lasting impact on our character and personality. So just because I advised him to be absolutely, casual about it, or maybe feel free to talk to a teacher anytime the way he wants to. After that, we indulged in a lot of conversation. I tried to know about more about his country. He talked about festivals, his this and that, and he asked me that why is it that you are always wearing a sari? Why don't you come in dresses? So I was assured, okay, my boy is improving. Probably he is trying to be more assertive. Finally, asking a question to the teacher about her get-up. I said, see, as per our university rules, we are supposed to come to our campus in saris. But we also take liberty sometimes with this rule with prior permission. But it is expected of us to come to the college in saris. Then he said, because in my country, nobody wears this. So I don't understand how you manage that. Anyway, so that was a big assurance for me that my boy was becoming more assertive. I don't know, once he went back to his country, whether he would behave, because in that part of the world, he is expected to behave in a different way. So I just hope he does that adjustment when he is communicating across cultures. And it's very important whenever you go out of your culture, like doing business in our context and doing business in the Japanese context and doing business in the US context, doing business in the Middle East context, it can be very different. We have the low and high zone, power distance can be more. All these things you must have studied in OB, right? How cultural factors play a big role. So I don't think he would have changed much once he went back to his country. Now I feel like reviving. Maybe I'll find out from social media pages and connect with him. And we talked a lot. Even we decided to write together on something of common interest. But then it was really shattered. I was really shattered to know that he's going back to his country. I don't know. I'll find out about the change in behavior. I just hope he has not changed, because if he has changed, he will face problems there. But whenever he comes back to our place or goes to a culture where more open communication is expected, I just hope he makes that adjustment and doesn't judge another culture by the standards of his own. That's bad. All right. So bottom line of this discussion is that upward communication has to be encouraged. Some companies are doing it. All companies should do that. And what is to be restricted? When the number of intermediaries are more, there is one sender and one receiver. No. Yeah, there is one sender, one receiver, but number of intermediaries are 4. So by the time it reaches the top boss, your message can be diluted. What you said can be turned and twisted and presented in a manner you never intended it to sound like. That's a big problem. So whenever you are in a position to decide your culture, organizational culture, you are the boss or somebody, make sure that the number of intermediaries between subordinate and superior is less. Otherwise, there can be distortion. Your messages can be distorted. It will affect your culture. I mean, overall effectiveness of communication. Okay, we will move on quickly. There are some other terms to ponder over. Oh my God, time is running out. Okay, because I have to tell you something about group communication. Let me pace up from here. So organizational communication, we know broad categories are internal and external. Employees, when they are talking to each other, obviously it's a part of the internal communication network. But the organization also has to communicate with the government, with the media, with general public, with their customers, their clientele. So they are the external stakeholders of the organization. And any communication that takes place between the internal stakeholders and the external stakeholders will be categorized as external communication, which is invariably formal. There is no informal variation of that. But within an organization, you can have a formal channel, you can have an informal channel also. Formal, as we just noted, upward, downward, horizontal, and diagonal. You cannot see that last line, it's written communication over there. Diagonal, you understand? Diagonal is when at the same time people of different ranks interacting. For example, in a meeting, in a boardroom meeting, you have got the MD, you have got two members. Ashwin Kumar wants to enter for the sake of attendance. Okay. Now you have got somebody who is taking down minutes of the meeting. So people of three different ranks are also are present there. What is happening? Is it that only the boss is talking to the subordinate? Is it that only the subordinate is talking to the boss? Or is it that those two managers are talking to themselves? Or is it that different episodes are taking place at the same time? So we cannot say that here only upward communication is taking place in a boardroom meeting. We cannot say only the two managers are talking, so this is peer to peer, this is horizontal. We cannot say the steno who is taking down or the secretary who is taking down minutes of the meeting, is indulging in downward, indulging in upward communication there by asking to repeat. Sorry, sir, kindly repeat, he's saying. So that's upward communication, right? But because all these things are taking place together, there is flow of communication from the top, from the bottom, from sideways, all together. So that will be diagonal communication. Clear? Now come to informal. Something very important to note here before we move on. Informal communication within the organizational framework can sometimes leads to lots of losses, crisis, whistleblowing, and whatnot. Particularly grapevine. Personal communication is not to be bothered about. The way we normally socialize with our colleagues, because we do not all the time talk about work. Sometimes somebody asks like, so how is everybody doing at home? Are you all vaccinated and all that? Or what happened to your son this year? He was supposed to give the board examination. So, when somebody is asking this, that's not the organization's or the official purpose with which you communicate. You are asking very personal questions to establish a rapport or get along well or keep the relationship alive, whatever. So that will come under personal communication. But look at the term grapevine there. Now, grapevine is a technical term here. And although it has got nothing to do with grapes or wine, maybe what connects with that term grapevine is the way grapevine grows. It just grows in any which direction it grows. It has no sense of direction. You cannot predict it that this is how it's going to go. You cannot say that. And so just like that grapevine, there is a informal communication network of gossips and rumors in the organization, which can be as directionless as that. It's sometimes absolutely baseless, but research says that 90% of messages you get from the office grapevine have actually some base. They are true, or at least there were good reasons why such a thing was spread. It's not absolutely baseless. It cannot be ruled out completely. So you can be a victim of office grapevine if you are not careful about, because people talk a lot, and when they run out of their stories, they create stories, they make stories and they talk. And if you do not want to be a victim, keep your ears alert and know how to deal with rumors and gossips about you. Because sometimes you cannot directly tell on people's face that, you are not the person who did that or something. Like, for example, you're joining a company after 2 years, along with 2 more persons from KSOM. So 3 of you join there. First 6 months you have got the training, and then you will be finally posted at your location. So during the training period itself, they will decide who will finally get what package. That initial package is not your final package. After your training program, on the basis of your performance, they will decide your final package. So at one point, you are very, very convinced that the HR is absolutely happy with you, and you are happy with the culture you are working in. Let's say you are working in which one? Let's say you are working for Asian Paints. Okay, Asian Paints. And then Amit sir calls you and says that, you also got a confirmation from TCS. TCS used to be your dream organization when you joined MBA program. And then you got a job, you got started working for Asian Paints. And then Amit sir calls and says, you got a confirmation for TCS as well. But I'm sure you will not like to join. So it will go to the next person. Then you say, of course, I would have loved to join before, but now I'm so happy here, and the training is undergoing. I'm already having a very favorable impression on my bosses here. I would not like to join TCS for sure. And then in the evening, you tell your friends, Amit sir had called me, and I also got a confirmation from TCS. But I don't think I will go now. I'm quite happy here. People are happy with me, and I'm also happy with them. So your friends, when they're talking to somebody, they say he has got an offer from TCS, and TCS was his dream organization. They don't tell the other part of it, what you said. They don't tell that how happy you are with Asian Paints. And that person goes and tells some other person that, he got an offer from TCS, that new fellow, and he is going to go. Because after all, it was his dream organization. He's going to go. He's adding something to it. He's going to go. And so it does the round, and it goes to the HR manager's ears. And the same HR who used to be so nice and happy with your performance is now making all sorts of expressions when you're talking to him. So you sense something. You don't know what it is, but you can sense that there is something negative. You can sense the negative vibes that are coming. So you're shocked. What happened all of a sudden? People who are so happy with me are now looking quite indifferent to me, and the way they're responding is different. And then somebody comes and congratulates you and says, oh, you are leaving for TCS. We heard that. Congratulations. You're shocked. I said, what? No, I'm not leaving. Who said I'm leaving? Oh, everybody knows that you're leaving. Come on. And then you know that, oh my God, I'm a victim of office grapevine. The problem is, what can you do in this context? You cannot confront it the direct way. Again, meta communication will come into picture. Tell me what you will do. I'm not asking my students of BBA. Probably we have done this case at some point. Anybody? Unmute and tell me. Hello?
Ma'am, just better to shake it off with a laugh.
Sorry?
Ma'am, it's better to shake it off with a laugh. No, you got the wrong information. I am not leaving the organization for going to TCS, and just give it a bit of smile and leave.
Yeah, that's true. That's what you will do with the person who tells you this. But what about all that, particularly what about the HR's reaction? The
information, like the past information, this will eventually flow up to him, right?
Eventually, no? What will do up to that point? Eventually, will you wait for that? And positive messages take time to spread. The way negative messages spread like wildfire, positive messages don't spread like that. If you're using word of mouth for selling any of the product, you will agree with me. A positive message no time. What else can you do?
Ma'am, so it's better to clarify with the HR first of all.
But clarifying will be direct communication now.
Yeah, but what will be wrong? You know how HR will react. You are saying clarify it with the HR. That means I heard it from somebody that I'm a victim of grapevine. Now I go to the HR and say, hello, Mr. HR, I heard that you heard something about me, but what you heard is not true about me. Let me tell you what you heard is. You know what the HR will say? The HR will say, you are mad. You're mad. What I heard from whom and what you heard from whom, I don't know. I hear it from the first time from you. HR will know, but you don't know how HRs behave. They are the sweetest. They are the sweetest of tongues, but they have their own minds. I tell you, only this I can tell you, not more than that. There are many HR people around. The HR will obviously be hypocritical about this. He will pretend as if he has not heard anything. He said, oh no, I didn't hear anything like that, and somehow he will keep his bias in his mind. And how many people he will catch hold of? How many people he will catch hold of and tell that I heard something that you heard about me? And there will be some people who have actually not heard anything. They will hear from you for the first time. You will be rather contributing to the rumor when you are directly addressing it. So think and tell me, what else can you do? Apart from telling, yeah.
We can let them come to us and one by one we can address to them that I am not going and laugh it off.
How? How will you ensure that? See,
We
whenever,
will wait.
just a minute.
Just a second, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, is it going to affect us? Like, if the news spreads, is it going to affect us? Because we are in a company. We haven't given any news that's like, it's not a formal or official notice. So is it going to affect our position?
Yeah,
the company?
It may, because when your final package is decided, or in the rest of the months when you are performing, your appraisal may be affected, because the evaluator, that HR or your evaluators, whoever are giving you marks, their mind will be prejudiced already. So they will judge you in a different manner. And coming back to answering individually, somebody who asks me, are you leaving? I heard that you are leaving. I can tell him directly, no, I'm not leaving. You heard it wrong. I'm not leaving. I can tell it directly on the person's face. But somebody who is not asking me, I cannot go and start explaining myself for nothing. That will be a very defensive approach. Can there be a more positive approach to this? I know who all my evaluators are. Can I say something to them, or some things, 1 or 2 or 3 things that can
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Ma'am, I want to say something. Ma'am, can we use social media for this to convey the correct messages to all of them?
Yeah, but can we guarantee that everybody will read our message? Like what exactly in social media? Can you give me some specific examples?
Like, ma'am, in Facebook also, if my friend he spread a message that this XYZ got a job in TCS, then XYZ person can upload a status or something, or a story or a tweet that I actually I placed in Capgemini, not in TCS, so that everyone will get a word of that.
Okay, but just think of those who are not aware of all this rumor and gossip. How ridiculous it will sound, how ridiculous it will look to them. All of a sudden there is an explanation. No, this is what has been spread, and this is what is true. It doesn't sound very mature enough a defense. Can there be a more mature defense?
Ma'am, I can caught hold of the ones I have told the things before, and I will tell them that what I told you is different from the rumors that I've heard. And I would like you to explain it to them, that what did you told them, basically. You can do that.
See, one thing is for sure, as I said, whoever directly asks me, I will clarify on the person's on the spot that what this is right and that is wrong. I'm talking about those people who are not asking me any question about it, but they have already developed those
Ma'am,
biases.
may I answer?
Yeah,
Ma'am.
please try.
Hello.
Please. No, the girl, please.
Hello,
who was it?
ma'am. I would go to the HR manager, and
Okay.
I would use ma'am, me, Punyasha.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I would go to the HR manager, and I was instead of saying indirectly, I would use meta communication to convey that this rumor has been going on about
Okay,
me.
one example, please.
And may I
Ma'am,
say something in regard of Punyasha?
maybe during the lunch time.
Just a minute. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you want to add to what Punyasha said?
Ma'am, I would like to agree with her that I can invite him to a lunch or something like that. And I know it's a bit informal, but it will be a more polite way, right? Maybe invite him over a lunch or dinner and then make a casual conversation
Yeah,
and
let
into
me tell
that
you,
kind of
you're spoiling your HR, and in future, get ready to spend more and more. You're making your HR greedy. Give me a more cost-effective. Give me a more cost-effective solution.
Hello.
Ma'am.
Hello, madam.
Polite,
informal.
Ma'am, how
Yeah.
about instead of confront?
I will ask somebody who
Hello.
has raised hands. No. No, hello.
Ma'am,
no,
Ma'am, I have
hello.
raised hand.
Nothing. I will
Ma'am,
ask
shall I?
somebody. No, please don't. Please don't. I will ask somebody who has raised hands.
Ma'am, shall I? May I, ma'am?
No. What about sorry, one girl and one boy I'll take. What about Bishojit Beura and Siddhi Mohanty?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I will not explain anybody rather than I will do my 100% in my job so that my work process will reflect my means that I am not leaving the company. I am giving 100% to my company. I
Very
will not
good.
explain anybody.
Okay, very good. But can we do anything extra apart from doing the work in the best possible manner, which is the minimum we have to do in this case? That's the minimum we have to do in this case. What extra can we
Adding
do?
some, yeah, adding something, we can pretend to be like doing our 110%.
Okay, you added 10 to 100. I asked you to add, you added 10 to 100. Okay, Siddhi, what about you? What's your solution?
I don't actually, I had faced something like that when I was working for Extra Marks, and so I had too many managers above me, and I had told one of my colleague there that I would be leaving, like I won't be working for them after 10 months. So that was interpreted in a very wrong way by
You
my
must
senior
be
manager.
really innocent to do that.
Yes, ma'am, because it was just after graduation. I didn't know what is work itself. So, and then what happened was then my HR called, like the woman, she called me and she was saying that okay, she started talking about how this thing has happened. We have come to hear about this and all. So I said that, ma'am, can we discuss after like the working hours, like an informal thing? Then I was sorry about the whole thing. Like I said, yeah, I will. I don't think that something had happened like this. And but yes, miscommunication happened. And also when senior manager, I had informally when she asked me about the whole thing, I told her that ma'am, I know this. There's nothing, like there might be rumors like this. I won't disagree. I won't be like I'll not be honest or something. But yes, yeah, I'll give my 100% and all that. I was sorry. I was apologetic,
Okay.
and there was an informal thing that happened.
Okay, because it's time, I'm not stretching this conversation beyond, but just one thing I would clarify here. Because Siddhi was fortunate enough to ask by the HR what the problem was, it's very difficult to handle such people who come and directly ask you what did you do wrong. Then you can answer. But most of the times, people do not ask you. They just have their own conclusions about you without even asking for a clarification. That's the problem. And in that case, I'm sure all the hands I can see raised, some of them are already thinking what I'm thinking. Why not to share something positive here, something like, look at the corporate calendar your organization has, and point at any future event maybe. And corporate calendars are planned with 2 years in hand. It's not like our planning, what we will do tomorrow, we plan today. It's not like that. Corporate calendars, like today, what's going to happen in 2023 also. So you have all the events lined up. Supposing there is one workshop where freshers can play the role of moderators or something. So when you express your desire, like tell me what I can do to apply for this workshop. I would like to moderate a session. And that is 2 years down the line or 1.5 years down the line. You are indirectly telling that, see, I'm looking forward to working in this organization. I'll be here till that time, which is why I'm asking. Okay. So that's one thing you can do. We have to stop here. Just before I take screenshot, there is a homework I would like to share. Shilpi Nayak is trying to join, perhaps to get attendance. No, Shilpi was here, perhaps.
She was here.
Yeah. Okay, this last. No, let me not spend time because it's time. Let me share it in the WhatsApp group. It will be a maybe 2 or 3 minute exercise. The first question will be solved, and rest of the questions you have to solve as per the guidelines. Let me not explain it now, and I will share it in the WhatsApp group. Let me just tell you that this group communication or the presentation what we are going to have, it's very important for us to be sure who all are in our group. Group 1, just one question. Group 1, are you having all 5 people or falling short of 5 people?
So we all have 5 members.
Okay.
We all have.
Okay. Group 2. How many members? 5.
5.
Okay. 3.
4 members.
We have 4 members.
4 members. 4 members. Okay. Is there anybody who was not there when we divided the groups? I can see some hands. Others, please lower your hands. Group 3, you are having a new member as the 5th member. Who is it who was not there? Ananya Bhattacharya.
From which roll number to which roll number?
Ananya, are you
Yes,
part
ma'am.
of any? Are you part of any group?
No, not yet.
Okay, so group 3. Now you are having 5 members because Ananya is joining you. Please resend your group list. Group 4, are you having 5 members?
No, ma'am. Only 2 members we have.
Only 2 members. Okay. Group 5.
And we are 4.
Okay. Group 5, you are having the 5th member, Abhinandan Das. Abhi, you belong to group 5 now.
Right, ma'am.
Okay. So group 1, group 2, group I think 3 and group 5 have 5 members now. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So all 4 of these groups get ready to present on the Thursday after next Thursday. I said you will be given 2 weeks time. Next week we will not have any presentation. Now let me tell you what we will work on. We have 17
Ma'am, I am not
groups.
assigned to any group.
Who is this?
Ma'am, Ashutosh.
Yeah, but why are you not raising your hand? I asked you to raise your hand.
Ma'am, I did not get the option, some technical issues.
Okay. So Ashu, group 6, how many members, please?
Ma'am, we are 4.
You are 4?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So Ashutosh is the new member, and so group 6 also now has 4 members. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Any group having 5 members other than these?
Ma'am,
Yeah. Yeah, please. I can always find out. Even if you lie, you're not having, I can always find out who has 5 members. So please say.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, there's another one student. She was there, but she got disconnected, and now she's waiting to rejoin the classroom.
How come? I have disabled meeting room. Okay.
Ma'am, group 7 also has 4 members.
Again, group 16 is also a group of 4 members.
Okay, there are many
Group 8
other
has
groups.
also
Don't worry.
Ma'am,
Don't
group
worry.
Group 9
15
as well.
Group 9.
I'm also not in a group.
Ma'am, group 11 also.
Am I asking you how many groups have 4 members? What is my question? How many groups already have 5 members? Please work on your listening skills. I'm asking how many groups. Let me stop recording this. It will be more of length and less of productivity.